want to hear it. Yeah, I'd like to hear your talk.
All right, we can do that. So tonight, I thought we would talk about a subject that I saw, behavioral economics. And I call the name of this class, the title is Misbehavioral Economics. So this is based on, I don't know if any of you've heard this. It's the theory of behavioral economics, which, you know, the Vaishyas are definitely in control of the world. Earth is a for-profit industry, you know, or an entity. It's all about making money. So at one time, the Brahmanas were in charge. And the Brahmanas would say, we do this, and here's the policies, here's the laws, and the Kshatriyas would enforce the laws that are set down by the Brahmanas. Well, that fell apart, and there's history. We can tell you exactly when, but I'm not going to go into that. And then the monarchy took over. The Kshatriyas rose up, and they let the Brahmins remain Brahmins, but we're going to be, I, the king, and I'm the ruler, I'm going to make all the decisions. And so then, not too long ago, maybe a couple of 100 years ago or something like that, the Vaishyas overthrew the Kshatriyas. Does anybody know when that happened? Not you. Anybody? All right, you.
Revolutionary War.
Revolutionary War. The Revolutionary War in America started the whole thing. The Vaishyas, George Washington and his clan, Benjamin Franklin, we've all remember him from his famous picture on the $100 bill. These guys got together and said, you know what? The monarchy isn't doing any good for us. We want to make money. So we're going to overthrow the king. And they did it. And then it happened in France, it happened in Russia, and it started a whole domino effect. And so that's where we are today. The people that are in charge of this planet are really just trying to make money. So I'm not criticizing, that's just the way it is. It is, after all, Kali Yuga. So, what are behavioral economics? This is developed by our friends, the Vaishyas. Behavioral economics is a field that combines insights from psychology and economics to understand how people make decisions. Behavioral economics is like a GPS that helps us navigate the winding roads of human decision-making, showing us that our paths are often shaped by feelings and social influences rather than straight lines of rationality. For so many thousands of years, I guess, people assume that you as a buyer, you're going to make a rational decision. Well, I need to buy a new coat. So you're going to go look for the best coat and the one that'll serve you. That's all changed. That assumption went on for a long time until somewhere in the last part of the 20th century, the Vaishyas thought, hey, wait a minute. Now that we study this, people don't make rational buying decisions. So let's talk about that. I know it may not sound interesting at this point. You may think, who cares? You know, it's the way the world. But we're going to, believe it or not, we're going to talk about Krishna consciousness and all this. And I just like to bring this up. Maybe we won't become, after we hear this, we won't be as influenced by the Vaishyas. And we won't make rational, or we won't make irrational buying decisions. Fat chance of that, huh? Yeah. So traditionally, economics assumes that individuals act rationally and make choices based on logical calculations. However, behavioral economics reveals that humans are often influenced by emotions, biases, and social factors, leading them to make irrational decisions. You know, the Vaishyas know this. You don't know it. They know it. That's not good. For example, people might spend more on a product simply because it's on sale, even if they didn't initially intend to buy it. You ever had that happen to you? Show of hands. I've had it happen to me. You know, you go to the store, even the grocery store, or wherever, and you got to buy this or that. And as you're looking at this and that, you notice that this it's on sale. Wow. I might even have plenty of these Whatsits, but 40% off? Well, heck, I'm saving money, so I buy it. I didn't need it. I didn't need it at all. I could have kept the money. But the sale, and not only that, but the sale was, the sign over the product says, this is the last day of the sale. Even if I came back tomorrow, the sales, I got to buy this. That happens, doesn't it? That's irrational buying. This field studies various phenomena, such as how people value immediate rewards over long-term benefits, or how they are affected by the way choices are presented to them. Behavioral economics emerged in the late 20th century. We've already gone through that. When economists began to recognize the limitations of classical economic theory, which often assumes that individuals are rational actors and complete information. That individuals are rational. And researchers like Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky highlighted how cognitive biases, systematic patterns of deviation from norm or rationality, impact our decisions. So, no need to read through the rest of this. You know we see where I'm going with this. Why does this happen? Are people getting less intelligent? Are we losing the ability to calculate what's best for us? Are we?
People are getting more sensuous.
They're getting more sensuous.
More sensuous, the more easily controlled by their senses. And saw that things irrational.
And the Vaishyas know it, and they've pounced on it. They have, yes, we're getting stupider. We're being managed. They don't even know it. All I know is that I'm trying to make it through life, and I don't have enough money at the end of the month. So the Vaishyas are not in business for you to have enough money in your pocket at the end of the month. They want more money in their pocket at the end of the month. I'm not saying they're evil. It's just out of control. The Vaishyas are in charge. They own the Kshatriyas and the Brahmins. So they're the ones that are making the decisions. Why do these things happen? What's going on here? Well, what are the things, what is really active in our material world? There's three of them. They're active all the time. The modes. And it's unfortunate, but we forget about that. We forget that the modes are active, and that more than likely whatever influence is coming to us, unless we're here amongst each other, and even then sometimes if we're not careful, but we're being influenced by the modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So this is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Do any of you new people out there not have a Bhagavad Gita? No, let's see. Okay, no hands are up. All right, sir. Sir, would you like Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
I'm going to do it anyway.
You get anybody to do that?
So Krishna addresses this in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We talk about this. We know this, but we don't talk about it enough. So when we go out in the world, the modes pounce on you. If you are not chanting attentively, not snick, snick, snay, snay, blah, blah, blah. If you're chanting attentively, you got a good chance that the modes aren't going to pounce on you. They're going to try, though. But when you chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's you're putting on armor. You've got Krishna wrapped around you. His arm is around you. He's protecting you. As long as you are attentive to what you're saying, this mantra that you're repeating, you're protected. So as soon as we lighten up a little bit, the modes start to influence us. It's just like when you go out in the heat. You know, you're influenced by that heat. We know that. We can experience that through our senses. But sometimes we don't notice when we fall into the mode of passion. And that's very unfortunate. We need to get there. We need to polish. We need to train ourselves. It's good to ask yourself, as soon as you feel some change in your mentality, ask yourself immediately, what mode am I in? If I'm starting to get angry, ask yourself, what mode am I in? Am I shifting am I going somewhere that I don't want to go? The answer is probably yes. We don't want to get angry. Sometimes it can be for your benefit, but that's pretty rare. But when we start to slip into the mode of passion, we should be able to catch it. As a matter of fact, what about the mode of goodness? If we're slipped into the mode of, if we're influenced, or let's say we're affected by the mode of goodness, is that good?
No.
No? How come? It's good. Huh? You do? Just by being good? Well, I was just trying to do the right thing. Yeah, but what was your motivation from doing the right thing? So Krishna tells us, and we've got two verses here. I'm going to read one verse first, and the other verse that really goes before this, I'm going to read second, because it works better that way. So 14th chapter, 6th verse, Krishna says, O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. I'm in the mode of goodness, but I get conditioned. The mode of goodness starts to influence me. Prabhupada says in the purport, the living entities conditioned by material nature are of various types. One is happy, another is active, another is helpless. All these types of psychological manifestations are causes of the entity's conditioned status in nature. How they are differently conditioned is explained in this section of Bhagavad Gita. The mode of goodness is first considered. The effect of developing the mode of goodness in the material world is that one becomes wiser than those otherwise conditioned. A man in the mode of goodness is not so much affected by material miseries, and he has a sense of advancement of material knowledge. And that makes us proud. I'm in the mode of goodness. I see that you're in the mode of ignorance. Right away, I feel a little superior. You know, I might want you to notice that I'm in the mode of goodness. I want people to notice. Why, gee whiz, I might even, to show you and prove to you that I'm in the mode of goodness, I'm going to build a hospital. I'm going to reach into my really deep pockets I'm going to pull out enough money to buy a hospital, buy land and build a hospital. And that's going to demonstrate to you and the rest of the world that I am good. It's going to demonstrate it to me too. And just so I don't forget what a good guy I am, and you don't forget it, we're going to put my name on that hospital, you see. And I'm going to relate it. Then you'll come and you'll buy it at my store. I have my business, and you say, oh, you're the guy? Why, you've got that, you built the hospital. Wow. Janeshwar Nishringa. I'm going to get my tats from you because you built a hospital. You see? So, you see how the mode of goodness works? We don't want to go there because you get into the mode of goodness. That's better than the other two modes, but now you've taken that step out of the mode of pure goodness, and now you're in the material modes. The mode of pure goodness is the spiritual mode. Pure goodness, who can define what is pure goodness?
Unmotivated and uninterrupted devotional service.
Huh?
Unmotivated and uninterrupted devotional service to Krishna.
Devotional service to Krishna. Unmotivated. Unmotivated and what?
Uninterrupted.
Uninterrupted. As long as it's not interrupted, you're in the mode of pure goodness. In other words, that means thinking what I think, doing what I do, saying what I say as an offering to Guru and Krishna. You see, that puts me in the mode of pure goodness. Well, there's some really nice side effects from being in the mode of pure goodness. One of them is, anybody?
Relief from all material suffering.
Yeah, you're relieved from material suffering, and you don't incur any karma. Why? You're bulletproof. You're out of that game. You're out of the material game. You're not playing, you see. Well, there's no penalties against you if you're not playing, you see. You're not breaking the rules of the three modes. The rules are, you need to buy this, you need to do this. You should be angry at that guy for what he said. You know, you should dislike this person because of the team that they like. You know, you ever heard of, sometimes there's professional sports, and then, or maybe it's not even professional, maybe it's college, you know. Little League. And there's a riot. People, you know, my gosh, you know, you go to one of these events, it's like going to visiting a powder keg. It takes a spark to set it off, you know. So we want to stay out of these modes. We want to stay away from goodness, passion, and ignorance, except when we can use the modes. Sometimes that puts us in control. I may need to get a little heavy with someone who's hanging around here on the property that doesn't need to be here. To protect the devotees and the guests that come here, we need to be very careful on who we let on the property. So there may be an unsavory person. We may need to request that they leave. So we may have to get a little bit in the mode of passion. You know, Krishna wanted Arjuna to get into the mode of passion. He wanted to go kill. How many people did Krishna want Arjuna to kill?
600 million.
600 million people. That's going to take a lot of passion. Maybe that and a bowl of Cheerios. What is it that's the breakfast of champions?
Wheaties.
Wheaties. You know, so Arjun, my dear Arjun, eat your Wheaties and go out there and kill me 600 million.
You eat Wheaties, Guru?
Huh?
Isn't champion your last name?
Yeah, I don't like Wheaties. I don't like cereal. I never liked it, but I tried it when I was a kid and I didn't like it. So So we can use the mode of passion. Use the mode of passion. Others are used by the mode of passion. Just like I was talking, when you go shopping, maybe you don't want to get into the mode of passion. You just really need to go to Walmart. Oh, wait a minute, no. Whole Foods. And you just wanted to buy a little bit of that. But like I say, there's a sale that's ending today. Or there's this, or there's that, or I see this product that's, I saw it advertised on the internet. Well, gee whiz, and it's on sale. So no, immediately the modes start to grab you. When you get into the mode of passion, you are expected, we should expect people in the mode of passion to misbehave. Because if you get in the mode of passion, anger is not far away. It's easy to get into them. It's one of the associates of the mode of passion. Arjuna had to get really, really angry to go out and do what he had to do. You see? So what about mode of ignorance? Can we use the mode of ignorance? Yeah. You gotta sleep. So yeah, we use it. We're not used by it. Some people's, by their way of life, requires them to, we used to use the term crash. Is that still cool to use that? That's still good? People still crash? All right, so part of the 60s is still alive. Do they still have crash pads? No, yeah, they do, but do they call them crash pads?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, okay, that makes sense. If you're gonna crash, might as well have a pad to crash at, right? So, but the mode of ignorance forces you because of intoxication. Now I gotta go crash. I have to. The modes are controlling me. I got in the mode of passion. That's what made me want to get high anyway. Now I'm high. Now I'm forced to take more sleep or sleep at a different time than that's really better for me. If I didn't sleep during this time period, you see where I'm going? I fall into the modes. They catch you and then they use you. They control you. But the devotee remains in the mode of pure goodness, and we use the mode of goodness. We use the mode of goodness when we're dealing with people for their benefit. Well, it's nice to do. If you're going to preach to someone, it's good to be in, or to appear anyway, to be in the mode of goodness, right? Now we're going to use a little bit of passion from time to time in our preaching, because we're going to get passionate about our preaching. We really want you to hear what we say. We want you to react to what we say. I'm talking to you out of Bhagavad Gita. This is Krishna talking. I want you to react to Krishna's words, so I may get compassionate, see, and passionate in my delivery. But it's under my control. It's not the modes forcing me to do it. Does that make sense? You're remaining in the mode of pure goodness. You don't have to leave it to borrow a mode. I'm in the mode of pure goodness, but I need to rest because tomorrow is an early day. You see? So I've decided that I'm going to use the mode of ignorance. The mode of ignorance has not forced me into the modes. Come on in.
This is our DoorDash guy.
Ah, that's okay. Come on in. I'm assuming the DoorDash guy's not delivering. He's come to pick up, yeah?
I just work at DoorDash.
You know how long it took Krishna to arrange that?
Did anyone order dosa? Dosa is coming. So any discussions about this before I go on to the next verse? Yes.
we use the modes, but at the same time, we use the modes, we seem to be more conditioned in like our Krishna says, your nature is that you're a Kshatriya, so I want you to fight. So Arjuna was using his, he was still conditioned to being like a Kshatriya. He still thought it was still in his nature to fight, get in a mode of passion. But sometimes it might not be in someone's nature to like use the Kshatriya mode or use the Brahmana mode or use the Vaishya mode, Sudra mode. So.
Sometimes people are too much of a Brahmin to put up much of a fight. That's okay. That's normal. And you can try your best. If you're Brahminically inclined, but you need to protect a devotee, you need to borrow the energy of passion. Well, you can try your best. You may not be as successful as someone who is already in Kshatriya mentality. You see?
Yeah.
But you do what you can. But there really are divisions. Some people are just meant to be Brahmanas. Some people are just meant to be Kshatriyas. Some people are meant to be Vaishyas. You can tell. You can tell it within yourself. And some people, most people, are basically Shudras in this age, or less than. We're actually being kind if we call someone a Shudra.
Yeah.
We're typically much less than that. I know I was. Yeah.
Are those classifications still apply to you?
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends. If you're in the mode of pure goodness, you're escaping false ego. And you're escaping the modes too, even though you use them. You see what I mean? Even though you may borrow, or let's say you use the mode of passion like you use a tool. Does that make any sense? Yeah, good question. Yes?
Unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service seems like a really unachievable standard. To be out from under the moon. So is there a kind of threshold of devotee, like we're so conditioned, so much. So is there a threshold when Krishna says, okay, wasn't there a moment where someone asked Prabhupada that? He's like, if you're 70% Krishna conscious, you can grab onto my devotee, or
yeah, that's a good
it's so
story.
hard to transcend the modes altogether. We're conscious of.
I love that story. I'm glad you brought that up. I read that a few days ago. Yeah, Prabhupada was giving a class. I don't remember when and where, but he said if you're 90%, well, he said you must be 100% Krishna conscious to go back home, back to Godhead. And then some of the devotees were like making a face. Prabhupada said, okay, 90%. If you're 90% Krishna conscious, then you'll go back to Godhead. And a couple of devotees were still like, Prabhupada, if you're 70%, you can go back to Godhead. And still they were like, oh. So Prabhupada said, you just remember, grab hold of my dhoti. I've got a key to the back door. I can sneak you in. In other words, Prabhupada will make an arrangement with Krishna. Krishna's going to meet Prabhupada at the door, and he's got all of us. And Krishna's going to say, what? You want them to come in here? Please, Prabhupada. Okay. Come on. So, but many times Prabhupada would say, don't take advantage. But don't take advantage. It's like the first time I heard him say that was 1975 in San Francisco at Rath Yatra. And there's some classes, they're entitled, one of them, this class is entitled, Who is Punishable? Who can be punished? Who is punishable? And so the first day, Prabhupada gave class like 3 days in a row. And the first day, some children started to make some noise in the back of the room. And either Brahmananda or Tamal Krishna Maharaj, one of the others, said, women should take the children out, because they were acting up during Prabhupada's class. So they took the children out. So then the next day, same thing. Kids start to make some noise. Brahmananda stands up. The mothers should take the children out. Away they went. So then, I forget the verse that this class, so on the third day, same thing happens. And Prabhupada had been giving the class. The verse was, who should be punished? And it says in the verse, women, children, and elderly people should never be punished. And then about that time, the kids are making a noise, and someone says, mothers should take the children out. And Prabhupada said, no, you can't punish them. Who can be punished? All we have here, it's women, children, elderly people, and saintly people can never be punished. And Prabhupada said, all we have here is women, children, elderly, and saintly persons. Who can be punished? And then the ladies in the back of the room were giggling. And Prabhupada said, but don't take advantage. In other words, I'm bearing my heart, but don't take advantage. Don't be a rascal on purpose. So, yeah, thanks for reminding me of that story. What was the question that you asked?
It just seems like it's such a high standard to get out from under the mold. So is there kind of a threshold that that's what the story answers?
Well, we have to consider, what does Krishna say? Why? Think of me always. Always think of me. Offer me your obeisances. Offer me some worship, some homage. So if we're thinking of Krishna, while we're performing our service, once it becomes unmotivated devotional service, then we become a little bit, mostly, immune to the modes. If you're thinking of Krishna, it's kind of hard to get into the modes, to be used by the modes. You can still use the modes, at that same Rath Yatra, I was out at the carts. It was a Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. And so they had rented a Mercedes to bring Prabhupada from the temple to the cart in Golden Gate Park. And he's going to ride on Subhadra's cart like he usually did. And so, big crowd of people around. Big crowd. I've heard people say there were 50,000 people there. I don't know. I didn't count them. But anyway, it was a lot of people. And so Prabhupada is coming, so there was a big crowd that had moved over to where Prabhupada was going to exit the car and get on the cart. And so it just so happened that the car pulled up right in front of me. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he had told me, keep this crowd back. I didn't have time to say, me, it's just like, keep the crowd, okay. I've been deputized, stay back, and I'm like this, and I'm telling the devotees, keep them back, so we're all blocked around, because we didn't want everybody to run all over Prabhupada when Prabhupada got out of the car. So Prabhupada got out of the car, and it just happened this way. The door opened. I had to move out of the way so Prabhupada could open the door. And the crowd is pushing, and Prabhupada gets out, but there's hardly room between me and the car for him to stand up. And he looked up at me like, moving back. Prabhupada got up, closed the door. And then this gigantic fellow, he was like a giant. He comes running through the crowd. And as he's hitting people, bodies are going this way and that way. And he's saying, I want to see Prabhupada, I want to see Prabhupada, I want to see Prabhupada. And so Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he looks at me and he says, stop that guy. And he's like 3 feet taller. I mean, he's like this big guy, and he's obviously deep in the modes. And so I had to get in the modes too. So I just looked at him as he got close, and I got as mean as I could. And I said, stop! You know, and he went, I mean, he was kind of, you know, he was because he could have gone me into the ground. He really could have. But he looked at me, he started, he turned and he ran away. He's running through the crowd, bodies are flying this way. And I looked at Prabhupada and he's like, so we can stay in devotional service and use the mode of passion, you know, to do our service. It helped to get into the mode of passion. I couldn't have and nicely said, hey, buddy, can you excuse me? We got this thing going on here. Could you please stay back? I don't think that would have worked. But I thought it would work better if I kind of got on his level a little bit. And it seemed like it worked. Yeah, Govinamata.
Hey, Gurudev, going back to this idea of, you know, if we're 70% or 80% or whatever, there's that verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says that that Krishna pretty much carries what we lack. So the way I look at it is, when I was a kid and I wanted something, like let's say I wanted a bicycle, well, I had to work for that bicycle. So maybe I worked really, really hard to get that bike, and I came up short, maybe $50.
Right.
And say, because I saw you working so hard, I'll go ahead and I'll give you the $50 when it's all said and done. So I feel like Krishna, the same kind of way. I feel like if we're working and Krishna can see that we're working and we're giving it our all, but we only get the 70%, Krishna's willing to again bridge that gap for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. He says, I will carry what you lack.
Right. And I'll present
But
what you have.
you've got to be sincere.
Right.
You know, if we're trying to trick Krishna, you know, you said you'd carry. Oh, I've been dragging my feet, so you should carry the rest. Well, Krishna's going to have another plan for you. You see, maybe he won't carry for you right now because you're not being sincere. So, but if we are sincere, then Krishna will carry what you like. He is on your side. He is your advocate. Shridam Sarvabhutanam. He is your dearmost friend and ever well-wisher. And he also says, I will enlighten you from within. Well, that doesn't mean that I can learn to say Om and just sit out there in the desert and he's going to give me all of the devotional service knowledge that I need. If I'm sincere that I really want to find him, then he will connect me in such a way that I will get good advice from him. I'll get Bhagavad Gita, you see. Because a lot of people use that as a crutch. Well, I get it from within. I don't need you. I don't need any of you. I don't need Sodom. I don't need your chanting. I don't even need Om because I decided I'm going to leave that out. I'm just going to meditate. You know? And it comes from within. So with that kind of sincerity, I think you'd be sitting out there in the desert, birth after birth. You see, why should Krishna you if you're not sincere? If you are sincere, but you don't even know meditation or you don't know anything and you don't know any devotees at all, Krishna will fill in and carry what you lack. He will send the devotees. Somebody will distribute you a book. The proper book. And that book will ultimately lead you to Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the doors open. If you have a little bit of sincerity, that opens the door to the spiritual world. Everything else will work if we're sincere.
Yeah.
We have that sincere desire, no worries. It's when we get in that gray area of, I'm getting sincere, but I'm not. If there's enough, I mean, just a whiff, all Krishna needs is a whiff of sincerity. And then you've won him over. He'll work with you. If you're not sincere, then why should he give you the opportunities that you're not going to appreciate or use anyway?
Yeah, exactly. It's like in that analogy that I gave, it's like, if I didn't show my dad that I was willing to do the work, then he probably wouldn't, complete the money that I needed for that.
He could see your heart.
Yeah.
You're sincere. Look at that. It made him proud. Look, this was so difficult. I didn't think he was going to be able to do it because he undertook a really hard thing. And look what he did. This is great. I'll carry what you lack. You've touched my heart.
Right.
So all we have to do is to touch Krishna's heart. Krishna's heart is very easy to touch.
Yeah, it's not like Krishna cares about the percentage.
Yeah. And it could be on a personal basis, your percentage may be higher than someone else's percentage. He may from you, he may expect more. Yeah. What's that called? The bell curve, or what is that? Yeah, grading. It's just grading on a curve. What does bell curve mean? I've heard of that before. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, there's grading on a curve. Some people, I think somewhere in the Bible it says for those who have more is expected. So we can't say, well, this guy is only doing this and that, so that's all I have to do. You get in there and you do your very best. I don't ever let myself say that. I did my best. I tried my best. You ever use that as an excuse? You failed. Oh, you weren't able. Oh, look, I tried my best. I don't let myself do that, because the last time I said that, I asked myself, did you really try your best? I mean, if you were really, as a part and parcel of the Supreme, if you truly had tried your absolute best, would you not have succeeded? I didn't give 100%. I didn't. In hindsight, if I'm honest, between me and me, no, that wasn't my best. I've got better. And I can do better. I don't know if I've ever done my best. Have you ever done your best as a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Can you even manage or imagine what your best is? We don't let ourselves understand what our best is. If you knew what your best was, then more would be expected from you. All right, you know what, and you can do what your best. Put it on the table. You see? Did you have a question, Sean? Well, you were holding your hand kind of strange.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you've got to ask a question. All right, come on. You're going to do this weird thing with your hand. You got to do that. I'm just kidding. At least one later on before we're finished. Anybody else? Arjun Sarati. Haribol.
Krishna,
Any questions?
I have maybe an answer to your question. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is way behind where you were at. It's like, listen,
Lay it upon me.
the bell curve is in statistics when they survey a bunch of people, or they're like, they're doing height or whatever. At a certain age, the bell part, the top part of it, is like most people fall into that range. And then there's like the outliers on this end and the outliers on that end. That's a bell curve.
Oh, okay.
But it actually is based off of that science that just puts people in boxes and, you get about 30 people and usually distributes like that. But when you take in more and more people, it starts to break that form. And when teachers grade on the curve, they just take all the smartest and studied and did their homework, and they just ignore those scores and make it as if the last meaning part of the bell was the best you could possibly do.
All right. I think I understand somewhat. All right. In the next verse, Krishna says, the mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti. And because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. Prabhupada says the mode of passion is characterized by the attraction between man and woman. Woman has attraction for man, and man has a mode of passion. And when the mode of passion develops the hankering for material enjoyment, to enjoy sense gratification. For sense gratification, a man of passion wants some honor in society or in the nation, and he wants to have a happy family with nice children, wife, and house. These are products of the mode of passion, and you may be wondering, what's wrong with having a nice wife and children and house? What's wrong with that? Well, that's just for you. A very nice home, nice wife, nice family, nice children, as an offering to Guru and Krishna. Why, now that puts it in what mode? Huh? Pure goodness. Wow. Now you're not getting any karma for your desire to grow your family. Why? I'm doing it as an offering to Krishna. I remember when we set up that community in Dallas after we had moved in and Satsvarup Maharaj had moved out and Tamal Krishna Maharaj was there. We finally got all the houses, devotees moved. We made new devotees, and the houses around the temple were full of devotees. And then what happened after that? We started having babies. This is a natural thing. You got grihastas situated you got householders situated in a house that they can hold. So next they start having babies. So one month I would go and I would say, oh, so-and-so has just had a baby, delivered her baby last night. And mother so-and-so is expecting. And we went on. And so one day Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, well, it appears to me there is more than one way to make devotees. So yeah, Grihastha life is a wonderful offering to Srila Prabhupada, to Guru and Krishna. If you're doing it for yourself and for your own enjoyment, your own prestige or whatever, then you're going to have to struggle in the modes like everybody else. You see? But if you're doing it as an offering to Guru and Krishna, well, you're in the mode of goodness. Yeah.
Are there different levels in the mode of pure goodness, or different degrees? Can something be more mode of pure goodness than another thing in mode of pure goodness?
Wow. Any examples?
Say for example, you have prasadam and you're you want to eat a snack. You're all right, just to make it so that I can eat it, I'm going to offer it to Krishna. Versus you know what Krishna's favorite ingredients are, and you're making something for him, and then you genuinely try to eat it from it. It seems like there's different degrees of sincerity.
Okay, this is a good point. I'm glad you brought this up. What do we do when we just need a snack? What do we do? Let me ask you this. Let me rephrase the question. When it comes time, Jai Sisi Anamara, Jai Sisi Konikai, Jai Sisi Singade, Jai Sisi Ramana. When it comes time to eat, Do you just make something up? If it's a snack, it's something quick, right? And you set it on the altar here. There you go. Bless it. I only have a few minutes. Come on, throw your. I gotta go. They're waiting for me. What are your chances that becomes prasadam? Huh? Or did you make it as an offering to Guru and Krishna? Or did you just want the food blessed? It's pretty auspicious to just want, bless it, Krishna. That means take the karma out of it, Oh, do that voodoo that you do, Or are we preparing it for his enjoyment? Something to ponder. You have to answer these questions, not me. And maybe you are in a hurry. It's just a snack. So maybe you have that understanding with Krishna. I know this isn't, it's just like sometimes when I eat some things that probably wouldn't be really appealing because they're just for my bodily health. So it's not something that I would give Krishna if he stopped by. If I invited Krishna over for lunch, I wouldn't give him a plate of diced jicama and apples, I'd want to give him a little bit more, you see. So, yeah.
There's that part of the of the third canto of Lord Kapila that speaks about devotional service is always worshipable, but there's devotional service in passion and ignorance, and there's transcendental devotional service. So devotional service in mode of ignorance is when someone thinks that they're better than all other devotees. They think I'm the best devotee, and they only see the deity. They disregard the devotee. Devotional service in mode of passion is when one is attached to the fruits of his devotional service. The mode of goodness is dutiful devotional service, and the mode of pure goodness is out of pure love. But in any case, it says that you should offer respects to all levels of devotees.
Yeah, it's still devotional service. You're right, it's in different levels. If I'm doing it for my gratification, but it still can be packaged as devotional service, then it's still glorious. It's not transcendental, pure devotional service, though. And we're working on that. We're doing devotional service. We're trying to polish it up as we go. You see, we're not there yet, but we'll get there. We're on our way. If we continue doing what we're doing, I will say, all of you are a lot further towards pure devotional service than you might believe. From my observance, you're a lot further. Now, I don't want you to get puffed up and quit trying, But don't ever think, oh, I'm so fallen, I can't do this. That's, we used to call that in the hippie days a cop-out. Do they still use that? Is that still, a cop-out, So, yeah, we need to stay out of the material modes. Unless we need to use them. We pick them up and use them like a tool. Not a tool, Govinda, but a tool. I had to say it this. Yeah.
Can you finish your thought of so you wouldn't offer Krishna your spicy jicama with apples, which is really good, by the way, with honey. So are you going to offer it for it to be, what do you do?
I offer it with the understanding that this isn't what I would do. I'm not preparing this to appeal to your tongue, Krishna. But all of these ingredients belong to you, and I want to offer them back to you because this is what I need. So I'm not really doing it for his taste. I'm not offering him fresh made homemade butter, or some butter sweet or something, we know what he likes. If if we do a little work, we can tell what it is Krishna likes. There's one, what is it? Oh, there's that, the Boga Arti song. You familiar with that? You know, it's not as popular in ISKCON as it used to be, but if you read that, if you read the English translation to that, what is Lord Chaitanya eating? You know, it makes your mouth water. We know what he likes. Now, you can't go get that at the store. You'll have to make it. You know, you'll have to learn a little bit different way of spicing, a little bit different way of application and this, and maybe this doesn't go with that. So you have to get off of cooking for your tongue, you see. But if you read what it is Lord Chaitanya is eating, it's pretty amazing. You know, I've always tried this banana flowers, pakoras. They dip the flower of the banana plant, dip it in pakora batter and make pakora. You know, you see, it's so un-Western. And a lot of times we find ourselves not really liking un-Western stuff because my body is not, you know. And I don't want to expose anybody to un-Western stuff because they may not like it and they may not like me. So we're going to keep it. Okay. So, but I think we should mix in, you know, some of these exotic things that we cook for the deities. It's like, you know, you can, I forget how much it is. It used to be for 500 rupees, which is like about $6. You could get the entire offering to Lord Nrsimhadev in Mayapur, which is enough to feed like 10 people. But this is Lord Nrsimhadev's food, and it's what he likes. And anybody that's ever tasted it would say, oh my God, I've never tasted anything this good. Or Radhamadhav's or Panchatattva's offering. You eat it and you think, oh, tasted anything like this. Well, yeah, you never have, and you never would have if you'd have continued to cook the way Mama taught you. And you can't get out of that box. So many people, they're held prisoner in that. Our culture, we can't throw that over enough to appreciate some of these other cultures, you know. It's like at one time in America, people weren't turned on by Italian food. It was foreign. There were just a few of them that had come here. After enough Italians came through Ellis Island and they started a whole world of their own, well, we kind of got into their food, didn't we? But there for a while, it was very strange. It was very strange to us in America. And so we're kind of there with what the world tends to brand as Indian food. You know, if you go traveling around India, you can get Indian food when you're on the road, but is it like prasadam? Is it like what we would give the deities?
No.
No.
Not even in the same category at all.
And I can understand why people may not like Indian food. But this way we cook for Krishna is very special. Mother Jamuna's cookbook. That's cooking for Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that one too.
Yeah. This is the kind of stuff that Krishna cooks. If we cook for Krishna, we end up getting more satisfied. We please Krishna with that love. He'll carry what we lack. We're not going to be that good at it, but if we try, we'll learn how to make it the way Krishna likes it, and we will enjoy on a higher level, rather than if we cook for what we believe we like. So, but, we'll get over that. We'll transcend that. Right now, many of us are hung up in Western culture. We're kind of handicapped by it sometimes. Yeah, Arjun?
Yeah, I was wondering, kind of back to what Nitai Niranjana asked about there kind of being different levels to this sort of thing. How are we to view, like, say, we want to do things for Krishna, but maybe that's not the first thought on our mind. When I'm cooking, maybe I'm cooking lasagna, his mother Sindhamani wants it, she likes my lasagna. And yeah, I'm gonna offer it to Krishna, but I'm doing it because I want to make Mother Sindhamani happy. Or the Grihastas, you talk about Grihastas, they're doing it for Krishna, they're doing it for themselves, but what about people that are kind of, they're doing it because they want to serve their children, they want to serve, an otherwise single woman or
First class.
that's first class still?
Yeah.
They're serving the devotees?
Service to the devotee is actually higher than service to Krishna directly.
What if it's just people pleasing? Or is it non-different if it's to a devotee?
Say that again now?
What if it's just because the person's like a people pleaser? Or is it non-different if they're a devotee?
If they're a people pleaser,
Yeah, they just kind of do whatever,
whatever the crowd around them does.
Yeah, exactly. Like at work, they may work with non-devotees and that's how they are at work. They'll do whatever.
That's auspicious behavior, but it's not full devotional service. How about we be the supreme people pleaser? The supreme person pleaser. We want to be a people pleaser. That's mode of goodness. Pure goodness is, I am a supreme personality pleaser. I've been empowered by the Supreme with the ability to please the source of pleasure. That's pretty far out. All of us are empowered to please the source of pleasure. Well, I may want to do something else. You see what I mean? But we're on our way. We're getting there. As our relationship with Krishna grows, someday we're going to feel like, well, I could actually improve this, that it might actually appeal to what you want, Krishna. You see? I'm not saying that we'll eat things that are bad for our health. If you have a food allergy, well, and Krishna likes this, but I should offer it to him, and then it'll make me sick. No, we don't want to do that. Maybe you can offer Krishna what he wants and give it to someone who's not allergic to it. Or whatever. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Yeah, Govindamata.
In the scriptures, we also have stories where, we have devotees like Sudam Brahmin who had nothing, right? But they had, the cheapest rice. But because of their love and devotion, Krishna was so eager to eat that rice, even though it was, I guess, what you wouldn't consider first class. So we also have that, and the examples of, the devotee who was feeding Krishna the banana peels, but he was, fully devoted, he was offering full devotional service to Krishna. So would you say it's better to have the intention be right?
It's all based on intent.
Yeah.
Actions, they're governed by the intent. Basically, it's like Prabhupada uses the example of two men, each with a sharp knife. Both of them intend to cut you. One of them is a thief and one is a surgeon. One is going to cut you to help you. One is going to cut you to steal what you have. Cutting is the same. But the intent is everything. My dear Krishna, my intent is to please you. I want to please you. So therefore, I have cooked this. And we're still going to want to cook. I mean, it's like if you're an Italian, you're going to want to cook pasta. And you're going to offer that to Krishna. Krishna loves, why wouldn't he like pasta? Of course he would like it,
gluten free.
Yeah, we'll offer him. Yeah, Krishna, we should always keep in mind that Krishna is not sensitive to gluten. He's not lactose intolerant. He's not allergic to peanuts. I'm just saying, we just need to remember that. We just need to keep that in mind. You know? I mean, Krishna doesn't have diabetes. So once in a while, I should cook something, give him something sweet and give it to someone else. Or eat it and suffer it, you know?
He's looking at you watching.
I like this.
He wants to make sure you're giving it to someone else.
Yeah.
We have some very special prasad for you, and I heard it.
Oh, wow.
There's something special.
Wow.
Show it to you after you finish that.
That sounds really good. I think that, I want to take that as a hint that we should wrap it up.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari, Hari.